I'm going to record this at the same time. Okay, so this is a report produced for and behalf of the state scheduled caste, and it was done by a judge and his body. Maybe he was appointed to do the study based on, and see this document being in Kerala. Of course, the first page now is shown in Malayalam, but essentially it's the same thing. Here's the English translation. The whole report is done in English here. So, and here I've made a statement regarding this document. I'll scroll down section by section and commented for the folks who don't understand many of the things now, especially in terminology and what I feel like. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to push me over because of this. Of course, or a judge, maybe a retired judge, is appointed more like commission. So he is acting on the best interest appointed by for the state commission for the scheduled castes. Scheduled castes are old-time workers, intended workers who were not paid their wages. Technically, they were slaves to old landlords, and that law has already gone away, and they are all free people. But anyway, to give them a chance in life, there's been provisions in the law, and but they are the ones who are known as scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. So, okay, anyway, the petitioner is based on a local person who is complaining against this hot bitumen plant, asphalt plant, and it's being heard. And so, of course, there are people involved along the way: the district collector, the medical officer, a couple of reports, the superintendent of police, and all these have been presented as an exhibit. Whether they were present or whether their reports were collected and submitted along with this report is submitted as each of the exhibits. The revenue divisional officer Tirula up in Pathanamthitta, Koipurum and Kadapra, Kuttitatt, Koipurum falls under the Pathanamthitta district. Gram Panchayat means it's the same thing. Gram means village, Koipurum, and this is another spelling. Sometimes you just see Koipuram, and Koipurum is another way of writing it. Whoever writes it, the way it sounds, it's phonetically said. Okay, whoever, whatever he thinks that should be written, I think this is not the right spelling. Okay, the judge retired. He's making this report on his behalf. He states all this. I don't want to go through this. You can always read this. This one lady, they're using her to represent. Maybe she's a real victim and she has had some trouble. So health has problems or something of that sort. That you can know details later. I only have a superficial idea of the whole thing. I've lived there, so I know all these things and how things work. And this Kuttikaden infrastructure pyramid, that's a company's name who operates the bitumen plant, that is hot bitumen mix plant for asphalt plant. And so location is mentioned, and they complain saying that the major problem is described, and it is highly dangerous and all, and it destroys nature. That is for sure. But this statement has to be made, and the petition is marked as Exhibit A1. Okay, and then these exhibits you can go and look at it directly. The people who came and intervened inside include district collector, revenue divisional officer, on such dates all mentioned, so you can go and look at all the nitty-gritty there, and whatever they have submitted have been submitted as Exhibit B1 and so on. You can go and look at each of the exhibits, the dates they were submitted, and how this report refers to them, whether they were done in conjunction with this report or were they done independently. That you will have to look at details and the exhibit itself. That would be a nice way to do this. So okay, now going backward, and what does it say? The same is marked Exhibit B, and another letter from was seen received. Sometimes the language is a long-winded kind of thing. Was seen received with which reported there is no objection in renewing the license. Who said there was no objection in renewing? This is where, whenever it is going favorably without giving any evidence that the plant is safe, you can clearly say that's how the power of money works. Money, gifts, and so on works. Politicians can be easily bought off. That's for sure. That's how the system is. They got used to the whole thing. Okay. The said report is marked. It seems that Advocate Saji George, chairperson of the Kadapra, spelling mistake, Bitumen Action Committee. So Saji has been now replaced by Jesse, I think. Or maybe Saji is still in charge. Jesse is assisting his wife. Anyway, they are victims. They live in the land, so they know what it means to have a problem like this. It is in their interest also this thing has to go, but it's being collectively fought out. The district medical officer had a report, and you can see that in there, and it is generally stated that where the plant sits, giving that it's a big area, that doesn't mean anything. This 10-acre land, but given the funnel, the toxic air is actually being scattered in a radius of easily about a couple of kilometers. The worst might be in the region of, based on other reports, if you measure in real air, if you capture samples, you will be able to know where those toxicity are. 1 kilometer away, you will have more. The closer people in the nearby immediate vicinity will have mostly dust. There is no actual wet snubbers used, I think. Even if you have wet snubbers used, you would have to wash them and treat that water and so on. So anyway, we do not know anything. This plant has not been very transparent. There is no knowledgeable people who have been admitted to go and inspect that. All are rudimentary fly-by-night kind of cases, and anybody who is available, as long as he has got a badge and he thinks is somebody, elected or otherwise appointed, they just make any report they want, and they think they can get by with that. That's how. But anyway, pay attention to all these things. Details are saying that 200 meters, no house within 200 meters. 200 meters is nothing. Whether 100 meters, 200 meters, this is going to be kilometers away. The toxicity is going to be maybe within 200 meters, 300 meters, and 500 meters. What you will have is mostly particulate material. But beyond that, the gaseous material. Toxic gases are spread all over the place. So you need to look at all that. Each of the report, another report by District Medical Officer, dated 2014, Exhibit 5. I'm not going to walk through that, and neither is it in this report. I don't see any exhibit. So you have to go and dig out and find all the exhibits and look at that. And the DYSP, the police inspector, superintendent, is a useless guy. He said it has nothing to do with it. All he can say is the law and order is being maintained, and there's no immediate intervention for police intervention. That's all he can say. That's his job. And that, if that is an exhibit, I don't know what that means. He's as good as useless. The next important person in the correspondence is Koipurum. Oh, you know what is after the introduction of Panchayat Raj? Panchayat Raj meaning is, it's not Raj and all that will sounds like more like kingship. The Panchayat is a top authority in the immediate vicinity. That's what it means. Grama Panchayat means village Panchayat, a village body. It's an elected group of people. and they are by ward, in the known as this ward, 10th ward, 11th ward, and there, depending on if there are 28 wards, there will be 28 ward members, and that's how the panchayat is made up. The Gram Panchayat was contesting this case and opposing the function. Within the Gram Panchayat, they were opposing this running of this plant because there was enough people objecting to it. But within this Panchayat, there were people on the take. That I can tell you, by word of mouth we have heard that. So they were opposing the group. Anyway, for quite a while, they objected. They were able to hold up the plant without not giving them the licenses to operate, and subsequently they went up to the High Court and then used a lot of tactics, and each of them are represented, given here within each exhibit. You need to go and look at them one by one in the sequence in which this report runs. Here there's the secretary of the secretary means the Panchayat secretary, I suppose, of the judgment which has ordered and decreed the honorable. The final word is to be based on a report from the Pollution Control Board. The Pollution Control Board. Even the Pollution Control Board is not doing a great job. They are working in cahoots with the plant guys. They are coordinating the activities. So usually they will come and take readings. Whatever readings it may be, which nobody gets to see anyway, on a day when the plant really doesn't operate or puts up a show. They probably burn wood or sambrani that day and then puts up a show. And that's how things are done. This is usual for anybody who knows the Indian type of hoodwinking, And if you go and see a movie, you will know the same kind of drama exists in real life too. They are learning from each other. Anyway, movies are learning from people, and people are learning from the movies how to outwit each other. Anyway, they have also reproached High Court, court cases. For a couple of years, in general, said the summary of it is a couple of years they have been able to prevent the plant from operating, and subsequently when the floods and all that came, they were given temporary licenses, and this might overlap into all those things, so you might as well want to go and look at each of these exhibit and see those details, nitty-gritty details, how the revenue division officer, what he has written, and that report, what the medical officer, district medical officials have said. One time they said there was a problem, they appoint a group of panel of doctors who came there and certified that there is an increased level of sicknesses, and here this is the most interesting thing. The person that attended the commission sitting, there were paper reports mean newspaper reports, in all the Malayalam dailies, and I do not know whether any reporter came there. And you see, for your knowledge, the local MLA is a previous Malayalam Manorama reporter or something, or newsreader or something. So they may have an interaction. When they are paid off enough, they will keep real reporters out of the place. That's how it works. Gifts and money has always have a negative effect against the victims and the real people and the poor people. The residents of Charlotte County, there are interaction. We don't see. I have not seen any interviews on live TV or on YouTube or anywhere where the press has taken any. So the local press has to be triggered off to come and take some live recordings, or else we'll have to do it ourselves. So if we do it, it'll be staged. It'll look like as though it's staged. So you'll have to bring the local news media and have them record this. They will come only when there's a lot of important dignitaries and politicians there, so as to be seen in the limelight. That's how the way it works there. They all want to be seen on TV. Okay, and it's not because they want things done. Anyway, each of the exhibits you might as well want to take a look at it, and any other additional reports or video or recordings available, I would like to take a look at it. I will run through all of them if needed, not an issue. And see here, in obedience to the direction of District Medical, has conducted a medical camp. In 2017, a health camp was sending to inspect people, children and old people, and they kind of concluded that a lot of people here are affected with respiratory problems and not contagious disease. Okay, somewhere I see contagious. Of course, carcinogens, yes. With respect to a previous reading, if they had a previous reading, that would become the reference. So, if you take all this and look against the CDC's reading, and that is Center for Disease Control in the US, and who has inspected people near Asphalt, Bitumen plant, in that kind of regions, then you would be able to tell in details. You always have to compare. Everything in this world is relative. In the absence of good standards and good people who can conduct a sensible study, you might as well borrow some studies based on a similar setup. These equipment are not unique. Bitumen plant and tar mixing is not unique. It has been done many places. And what are the toxicity that emits from there? It's a known thing. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. The wheel has already been invented. These kind of things have been studied. You just need to borrow this. Unless, of course, they have a reason to show, the operators have a reason to show that they're doing any better than the others. Okay, I don't think so. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, there's no point in writing a long story saying that you have a right to breathe, and you have the Constitution guarantees your right to breathe, the right to live, and all that. That's what this has dwelt on. That everybody knows. You don't have to tell anybody what is already known. Does it occur? You need to tell somebody that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. You don't need to write that down. Everybody knows that's for a fact. What we need to know is what has been done. And in that aspect, this report lacks substance. Just like every other people who came by, and they all lack substance. It's totally a hogwash. I will tell you, this whole thing looks like a hogwash. A lot of time spent. Of course, these statements in this report, 17 out of 18 children had respiratory problems. This is a deplorable condition, and the entire population area is frightened. Frightened is not good enough. You don't have to be frightened because it's an event before the plant came here. This is an approved thing based on something done in somewhere else. What does a bitumen plant bring it along with it? Even before, you don't need to put it here, spew out toxins, take an effect, have a lot of people be born with birth defects, and later to find out there's problems and that be certified. What's the point? You might as well do it early. These things already have evidence. You don't need to invent. Now they are making reference to some other case somewhere else in Bihar. That's typically in a legalist manner. This is how. See, the legal system takes an awful lot of time, by which time people are suffering. So there is no much time to waste. If you can't do it in a proper manner, in a legal manner, and quick enough, then I think you have to ignore many of these people and do it some other way. The people power should be a bit more powerful than this, and that takes a little bit of organizing. This nonsense cannot be allowed. But anyway, go through the details, go through each of the exhibits, and I would think that most of them are garbage, for sure. The Panchayat has been a miserable letdown, and there are few people who genuinely our Panchayat member, our lawyer, now Jessie, she was elected, but she's a minority. They were all overruled by people on the upper levels, and the majority. They overruled her, and finally the plant now seems to have a temporary permit, and they have not produced any documentation to substantiate how and why they can operate. No readings have been made available. None of the pollution control. These people were not admitted as a part of the team to go and investigate. Actually, you should be allowed to go in with your experts who know these things. And I will tell you now, by the very nature that I have read up and learned from it, I might turn out to be a better expert than most of the people who came there, including your pollution control people. When I have the measurement methods in my hands, I would have better, tools in my hands than in your pollution control. I would have the knowledge because I've read from other plants and so on, bitumen plants. I would have the measurement capabilities. I would have had third-party people measure it, directly take measurements off and report it. You're not making a measurement, so you will have 2 or 3 type of measurements, and I would have read enough and learned everything. And I will make that all that available for you folks to refer to. What else can I do? I'll do whatever it takes to do.